When you're selling a home, there are many factors to consider. One of the most important factors is the cost of fixing up the home to make it attractive to potential buyers. This is especially true in Salt Lake City, Utah, where the housing market is extremely competitive and buyers are willing to pay well above asking price for quality homes that are in good condition and are priced correctly to begin with. And I know during the pandemic that got out of hand and the interest rates have changed the landscape substantially, but what I just said is still true. If you price the home correctly, it's in good condition and you've really made it a very attractive home. From the initial assessment and inspection to the necessary repairs and improvements, the cost of fixing up a home to sell in Salt Lake can be pretty significant, depending on the needs of the home. So that first step is having that initial assessment and inspection done so that you have a really good idea of what's going on with your home, because an inspector can really draw your attention to things that you've become kind of blind to. This is typically done by a licensed home inspector, and that's going to cost you anywhere between $350 to $650 or even $750, depending on the size of the home. I would say an average one is going to cost you about $600 right now in September of 2023. It's also going to depend on the complexity of the assessment and the inspection of the home itself. During the inspection, the inspector looks for any structural defects, water damage, other issues that are going to affect the value of the home. And the home inspection is going to range all the way from a honey-do list up to really serious safety and structural issues that maybe you didn't even know about. After the initial inspection, you have to make the necessary repairs. And I say you have to make the necessary repairs and improvements to the home, because if you want to increase the value and make it more attractive to potential buyers, it pretty much is a must. The areas that are most important to focus on to get the most for your money are going to be the major structural issues, because people will absolutely notice those. And that's going to scare lots of buyers away. Beyond that, you should look to paint and repair flooring, with most of the concern focused on the kitchen and the bathrooms. Depending on the condition of the home, this is going to include minor cosmetic repairs all the way up to major renovations like replacing the flooring altogether. Common repairs and improvements are very much going to help improve the price of your home, and they include replacing and repairing that damaged flooring like I was talking about. Painting the walls. A fresh coat of paint makes a huge difference. Dirty walls, they add to a sense of a homeowner not taking care of a home. And I know that's crazy, but fresh, clean walls, they really stand out to buyers. Replacing appliances that need to be replaced, installing new fixtures, and updating the landscaping. And the updated landscaping and a well-maintained yard are one of the first impressions of your home, and it's going to give a surprisingly large boost to the price of your home. The cost of these repairs and improvements can vary depending on the scope of the work, but in general, these projects can cost anywhere from a few $100s to tens of thousands of dollars, depending on what it is you're doing. You know, if you're completely revamping the landscaping, you might want to count on tens of thousands of dollars. But these areas also tend to create the most value for the home seller too. So it's a kind of a trade-off. So the most effective approach is to set a budget in the beginning before you start any of the repairs. And this is going to ensure that you focus on what needs the attention and you don't run over budget. So it's going to ensure that you focus on the things that really need to be done, and those are the things that a buyer is really going to notice. If it's spread out over a bunch of different things and they're kind of halfway done, it's going to have the opposite of what you're looking for effect. That effect is not going to be what you want. In addition to the repairs and improvements, it's not a bad idea to consider the cost of staging the home for showings. Staging a home helps potential buyers visualize the home and how it could look with their own personal touches. This is going to include rearranging furniture, decluttering, adding home decor and accessories, and the cost of staging can range from a few $100s to a couple $1,000s depending on the scope of the work. In my experience though, staging a home can make a huge difference in the eyes of a buyer as to whether they see their family living there and whether they will be able to feel themselves making lasting memories there with their family. The cost of staging is really minimal compared to the return. Architectural Digest says that 85% of stage homes sold for 5 to 23% over the listing price. I'm going to say that again. Architectural Digest says that 85% of staged homes sold for 5 to 23% over the listing price. The cost of fixing up any home is going to really depend very much on the condition of the home and the scope of the repairs, of course. In general, the cost of the initial assessment and the inspection and the repairs and the improvements and the staging of the home can range from a few $100s to $5,000 or $10,000, depending on how much improvement you want to do. If there are structural issues, you might want to count on a couple tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe a HELOC is the thing that you want to do to attend to those things to get a much better price and then pay that HELOC off when you get your offer. The only way to know exactly what the cost will be and whether you're going to be spending your money wisely will be to consult with a good real estate advisor. And my clients count on me to provide my expertise as someone who participates in the housing market daily to tell them where they should put their money and the efforts that are going to make the most money on the sale of their home. So it's important to factor in these costs when considering the potential sale price of a home in Salt Lake City, and you should budget accordingly. The cost of fixing up a home to sell in Salt Lake City can vary pretty significantly depending on the size and the condition of the property and the type of renovations needed and the quality of materials used, really. If you think about some of those high-end finishes and appliances, they can be quite expensive. For a typical property, it'll cost anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to complete basic renovations of the structural sort that I was talking about a moment ago. Well, larger projects can cost even more than that. It's important to consider these costs of renovation when deciding to sell a home in Salt Lake City because the return on investment may not be worth the expense depending on what it is you want to do. Maybe the roof has 2 or 3 more years left and you just let it go. With careful planning and budgeting, you can maximize the value of the property with minimum investment. And that's really what you should be doing, is just the right amount of investment. If you over improve, you might spend more than you'll get back. Ultimately, the cost of fixing up a home to sell in Salt Lake City depends on the individual circumstances of the seller, and taking the time to understand the potential costs can help ensure a really successful transaction. If your home knocks people over when they walk through the door, I can just about guarantee that you're going to get multiple offers. Of course, I can't guarantee, but in my experience, that is not unusual at all. If you have transformed your space from an ordinary to an exceptional home, the difference in the sales price is going to be pretty extreme. The homes that appeal to every buyer are very good candidates to receive multiple offers above asking price, even at a 7% interest rate. If you've been thinking about selling your home, you have questions about what specifically you should improve, I would be more than happy to answer any of those questions, walk through your home with you, point out the things where you are going to get the very best bang for your buck. I can get very granular with you all the way down to the types of colors that are most helpful in getting your home sold at top dollar. Feel free to reach out to me. I really do love hearing from you. It's so fun to guide people who watch my videos through this process and to meet new people this way. It's been so rewarding, and I really appreciate meeting you.